Meeting to order. We have no regrets. I see all councillors are here. Always an invitation to stand and walk around if you need. We have an agenda. Does anybody have anything to add to the agenda? I'm going to add under, I guess I'm going to put it under financial requests, but we may not be able to do this. I received an email a while back for a request, and it's not a community grant. It's a request for a film. Or I just emailed you. I thought I had sent the email when I got it, and I hadn't, obviously, because I don't think anybody received it. So I send it now. If we can't deal with it tonight, we have one more meeting before we break. So, but I'm going to bring it up tonight anyway, and then we can at least look at it. So if there's nobody else who has anything to add, the agenda will stand approved as presented. Yeah, it's working. Oh, I got to be on too, right? I'm on, yeah.
Yeah, Scott.
Scott wasn't on.
Thank you.
Scott.
Can we add to the agenda the next meeting date?
Pardon me?
Can we add to the agenda the next meeting date?
Yeah. Next meeting. Okay, with those two additions, the agenda will stand approved. Conflict of interest. Anybody has a conflict of interest to declare, they can declare them anytime. They can do it now, they can do it when the item comes up. We have two presentations tonight. I have Yolande Donaldson for Veterans Project, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Yolande.
Once it's ready, it's good?
Yeah.
Good to go. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes. Warden, Deputy Warden, CAO, councillors, thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I'm very pleased and proud to be presenting the project that you see in front of us. This is a project that we have been working on through the Legion, one of our Korean vets and myself. And the project is about the men and women who served in the Canadian Armed Forces, died as a result of the wars or the conflict, and never returned home, are buried outside of Canada, mostly in Europe. So we wanted the project to have a big impact, so we chose to put the cemetery because we felt it was meaningful. It would give students in particular a huge impact to just see how many grave sites there are in that cemetery. We chose the cemetery Benny-sur-Mer in France. In this cemetery, there are 2,048 graves. Out of the 2,048 graves, there are 2,044 Canadians, mainly from D-Day and the beginning stages of the Battle of Normandy. And most of them are from the 3rd Canadian Division. And this cemetery is one out of 23,000 war cemeteries or war memorials in 150 countries around the world. So if that doesn't give you a powerful meaning, when I tell you the stories of the men and women that are surrounding that cemetery, it should impact you for sure. So we opted to put some national symbols. So we have the flag, the maple leaf, and then we have the poppy as well as the words, remember them. We also have a French version, which most of you can't see. It's sitting underneath it, because in order for us to put them in the CSAP schools, we had to have it in French. So it says Jamais oublié. And then the Benny-sur-Mer cemetery is Cimetière Militaire de Benny-sur-Mer. Our goal for this project was remembrance. This is not a fundraiser for the Wedgeport Legion. This is something that people will remember what the men and women did for us, and not remember it just on Remembrance Day, but to remember it year-round. It's not something that we intend people to put in a closet and haul out on Remembrance Day. We want that to be front and center in front of everybody at all times. We'd like to see it in schools, in municipal buildings, Town of Yarmouth, Municipality of Yarmouth, Municipality of Argyle, community halls, Mariners Center, anywhere, libraries, fire halls, anywhere where people gather for a celebration or a concert or whatever. That is what we intend with this project. Along with this project, I will tell you the stories of the men and women in this project. But along with that, whoever purchases one of these will get all the information, a packet of information will come to them, ready to just put in a binder. So if it's set out anywhere and someone has any questions about who it is, they will be able to see that. You'll notice that the pictures are all in a circular shape. And there's a very good reason for that. It's because the circular shape reminds us of the dead man's penny. I don't know if any of you ever heard of that. It looks like a penny, it looks like a big cent. And it is a memorial plaque given by the British for those who served under the British or the British Empire and died as a result of the war, First World War. It started during the First World War and went until at the end of the First World War. And it was sent to the families of those that had died. So on it would have been the name of that person in their family. And in honor we serve. And then it had some British insignia. So the men that are on there are all local. They are from Briar Island to Argyle Sound, age 17 to age 32. There are many more that we could have put, but you can only put so much until it takes away from the picture, so we tried to get a variety. World War I, World War II, and the Korean War are the ones that are on there. After that, the conflicts and the wars, they had ways to bring the men back home, men and women back home, repatriate them, whereas in those wars, there were so many that were killed at one time, and just some of them had been buried in mass graves and then dug out again and put in these military cemeteries. So I'm going to start on the top row to your left. We have John Angus Jacquard. He was a World War II veteran from Little River Harbor. He was captured during the Battle of Hong Kong as a prisoner of war and was taken to prisoner of war camp, to prisoner of war camp, to prisoner of war camp, until finally the last one, the roof collapsed under a heavy snowstorm, and 8 of them were killed, including Angus. And he is buried in Yokohama War Cemetery in Japan, and he was 22 years old. The next one, Korean vet, Elwin Herman Goodwin from Argyle Sound. He was killed during Operation Commando coming up Hill 187 in South Korea. He is buried in the United Nations Cemetery in South Korea. Robert Francis Boudreau, World War II veteran from Wedgeport, is actually buried in this particular cemetery. He was wounded in France and died later that evening, and he was 20 years old. Last one on the top row, Chester Pennell, World War I veteran from Yarmouth. He was a private in the No. 2 Construction Battalion, and he took ill on the SS Southbound going to Liverpool, England. They took him to the hospital where he died of pneumonia, and he is buried in Kirkdale Cemetery in Liverpool, England. He was 19. I'm going to go to the left top picture. Freeman Hector Grant, World War II veteran from Carleton. He was killed during the Battle of Ortona in Italy, and he is buried in Moro River Canadian Cemetery in Ortona. He was 17 years old, not old enough to join. The next one, John Jeremiah Boudreau, World War II, is from Yarmouth. He was a leading seaman aboard the HMCS Raccoon. They were in the St. Lawrence River when they were torpedoed by the U-boat 165. The entire crew was lost. They never did find his body. His name is on a memorial in Halifax, in one of the parks in Halifax. He was 32. The bottom one, we don't have a full name. M.E. would be his initials, Gower. He actually served with the veteran that I was working with. And he was a veteran of the Second World War. But after the Korean War, he was sent as a special force to Germany to prevent the Russians from invading Germany. They found him dead in a canal, and so he is buried in Hanover War Cemetery in Germany. I don't have an age for him. Yeah, he's 32. On your right-hand side, top picture is a woman. She actually is buried in Quinnen, the Saint Agnes Cemetery in Quinnen. The reason we chose to add her there, number one, she was a woman, it was the only woman, and it was the only woman in the Second World War, the only casualty in the Second World War, being a woman in Yarmouth Town and County. So hence the reason we have her there. She was in the Canadian Women's Army Corps as a truck driver. That doesn't surprise me somehow. And she was in an army vehicle as a passenger when it rolled over and she drowned. So because she was in Sydney, Nova Scotia, they were able to bring her back home. But we felt it was necessary to put her in that picture. Next, we have Philippe Joseph Jacquard. He's from Springhaven, World War II veteran. He was killed in action in Italy. No, he wasn't killed in action. He was wounded in action and died the next day, and he is buried in Cassino Cemetery in Italy. And the last one is Stillman Elton Cisco. He was a World War II veteran. He was killed in action in France due to shrapnel, and he is buried at Bretteville-sur-Lez in France. He was 21. If you can see the picture below you, you will see there is one different person there. Instead of Philippe Blanchard, you have Oswald Joseph Bellefontaine. He actually is an uncle to Evelyn Muse. Evelyn and Gordon Muse. And he landed at D-Day, was injured, made his way to someone's backyard where he was found by the enemy and, from what I understand, executed. And I think Evelyn told me tonight he was 22. So we needed to change the French picture to put Jamais oublié. So we opted to put another picture, seeing as Philippe Blanchard already had a cenotaph in Quinnen, and this guy did not. So that's why. So he's from West Chesapeake, actually. So that being said, I would love to see a picture in this building. And Garion Construction has offered to donate one to put in this building. That doesn't mean I'm not going to make any requests. So my first question is, yes or no? Would you like to have a picture donated by Garion Construction in this building? And if so, would you like to have a large? This is a large. They come in two sizes. So the large is 36 inches wide by 26 high. The small, what did I say, the first one, 36? The small is 30 by 22, which is a little bit different. We recommend the bigger one if you have the space for it because it has the most impact. And then I need to know whether you would like an English or a French. You don't pay, it's donated. But if you buy one, the price is $175 plus tax for the large one and $125 plus tax for the small one. And I think I already said this is not a fundraiser for the Legion. Whatever the prices are is what it's costing to be printed. It is printed and then placed on dye bond and then laminated. The fact that it's on dye bond material means it's fire resistant or fire retardant, and therefore we can place them in schools as well as in public buildings. So you don't have to worry about the fire marshal I've already checked before we decided to print these as to what materials we needed. And as far as hanging the picture, we would hate to see people put screws in there. The ones that we have hung up are hung up with, they're called mirror hangers. So they're clear little pieces of, you screw them in the wall, and there's a slot where you can slip the picture in, and then you put two more on the top. So that's basically how you hang it. Now, my request would be that it would be lovely to be able to see one in the community halls of your own, the villages that you are representing. So East Pubnico probably in the fire hall even, the Legion, I have a presentation to do at the Legion as well, so they may get one themselves. But in all of the communities that we are serving here, it would be lovely to be able to have one in there. I think that more often than not, we just take our freedom for granted, never thinking of what actually happened in the past, because the past is the past, and we remember them at Remembrance Day, but we should remember them year-round for what they have done for us, and therefore this is one way that we felt we could honor them. Thank you.
Yeah, before we, I mean, we would have to know if the halls are okay with having one,
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I have Councillor Sonia.
Thank you, Warden. Nice presentation, Jan.
Thank you.
I'm guessing you would want that hung in the lobby rather than the council chambers, because that's probably where it'd be more visible.
It would be more visible in the lobby, but if this is the only place you can have it, this is the only place you can have it. I don't know how often you have people coming in here other than your own personal meetings. I don't know. But if there would be room in the lobby, that would be where I would recommend it. Yes.
I know Bob Guerin personally. I know he'd
Yeah.
be quite proud to have this hung here, so.
He would.
Thank you.
He would.
Councillor Digdon.
Thank you. Just wondering, it's very nice of Garion to offer to buy us one. Just, I'm more so looking at Alain or CAO or Deputy CAO. Would there be anything wrong with him buying us one to donate? I'm just looking at, he does work sometimes for the municipality, and could it be considered?
CEO.
If I understand the question, are you asking whether it's appropriate for a donation from a contractor to us? Is that the question?
That does work at times for us.
Yeah, I don't think there would be any conflict around that. I mean, there's donations that would occur. I suspect this would be seen as them donating something to the community. I think, so I don't think there would be any inappropriateness there. I suspect, I'm hearing them, maybe that there's a hint that if there's other community groups that require one, they may not have the funds to purchase those, and maybe that's where the municipal council can lean in and take a look at whether or not they can help distribute this, if it's the will of council, right? So, either we would purchase them and donate them to community halls, or we would provide the funding to the halls for them to purchase, of course, with their permission. That's kind of like, it's not really the answer to your question, but there may have been a suggestion that there was more.
Yeah, no, that answered. I would like to see whatever, whether it be French or English, that Garion is donating. I'd like to see one of, if we're going to hang one here, I believe we should hang both, a French and an English.
French and English?
Yeah, and that would be, I don't know if we'd have to have a motion to do that or not, but I'd just like to see, pardon me? And that, well, if we're gonna accept the one from Garion, I'd like to make a motion that we buy one of those from the Wedgeport Legion as well. And that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Did you want to speak now? Councillor Sparrow.
Yes, thank you. I guess on the motion, I think it's a great idea. I was going to ask, find out from our local club if we could, if they were interested in getting one, you could always use your district community grants as far as that goes to help somebody out. I think that might be a,
But I think right now we have a motion, we
Yeah.
should deal with just that motion, then we
Sure.
can discuss the rest after, because that's outside the motion. The motion now is to buy an extra one, except Garyon's, and buy another one to have a French and English. So is there any discussion on that?
no, I'm all set.
Can I?
Yes?
I just need to know if you are able, and I've already asked Scott this, but I just need to know if you're able to put underneath the picture that it has been donated by Garyon Construction, because that
Usually we do.
is what we have been fortunate that some company has purchased one for each and every school in all of Yarmouth County. So, and our recommendations will be to put underneath that picture what company donated it to them. So I'm just asking if that's doable for here as well.
I can't see why not. I mean, if it's donated, same as basically what we've done with other, like with the building where we were donated the lot and whatever, so.
Okay.
Any other questions on the motion itself? If not, I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, carried. Now, more discussion. Guy, did you have, you're all set? I have Deputy Warden.
I was just going to mention that I have seen them in schools, and they stand out. They definitely, and I think like that is your point, right? You're trying to bring awareness, and you're trying to make sure that, it's not just Remembrance Day, and they are very visually appealing, that they pull your eyes towards them. So I've seen them, kids stop, they look at them. I've seen that happening. We were able, a few counselors had visited the Veterans Place, and we
Yes.
had a conversation with Bob, and his passion for this project was really evident. So I'm thankful that you came to make a presentation tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Board.
Yes, thank you. I guess I'm going to echo what Nicole said. I also went and visited the Veterans Place, and it was really nice, and I'm very happy that you're doing this. My dad was a veteran, so it's near to my heart what you're doing, so thank you for what you're doing.
You're welcome. It's been a lot of work, but a labor of love.
Yeah.
That's
So,
all I can say.
Say just a particular person that wanted to buy one.
Yes,
Who-
we have
who-
sold some to individuals to put in their home. I don't know where they're going to put it, but yes.
Yeah.
And what we're doing, the organizations that are purchasing some to donate somewhere else, we have printed off some smaller copies, 12 by 18, which we will give them as a souvenir because they have no place to put it in their business or regulations that doesn't allow. So we'll do that. At least they will have a copy of something.
So do they contact the Wedgeport Legion?
Nope. I'll leave you some information here. You can either email me or call me and tell me what you want. And I deal directly with, it's Fundy South Business, Jennifer Nightingale, the lady who did put this program on to scale. And then it's L&N Signs that print them, and they all know what the right thing is for fire retardant materials. So that's who I go through.
Okay. I have Councilor Johnson.
Yeah, she mentioned putting some in the community halls or fire halls or whatever. So council will have to make some kind of if we agree to this, make some kind of a budget and come up with some numbers on how many we'll need or whatever to help different groups, because I know some of the halls don't have the extra money to have a hard enough job paying the light bill. But, so that's going to be done, and so how would we do that? It would have to be, it's outside the budget for this year, but is there fall grants still available, or?
There's no fall grants this year.
That's right, we done away with fall grants.
Yeah.
So this goes along with the banner program, like I'd like to see it done somehow. Go ahead, Mr. Muse.
Well, no, you took the words right out of my, you asked and answered the question, so I'm not sure why I'm even talking. Any other questions you would wish to ask and also answer are appreciated. Yeah, I think that we have room under the Legion project. I would have to discuss with the deputy CEO who's in charge of that, but assuming there's room there, that might work. You know, and which means that it wouldn't really be a grant to an organization because we have a policy that's very specific about how that works. But we do have a Legion program that promotes, you know, as you know, the signage of people that that served, and so this might fall right into that in my mind. And this is not necessarily a large investment either. I think that there's definitely, I'll go out on a limb and say there's room there.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay, so I guess what you heard is basically something that will be discussed
Yes.
with council and with our
Yes.
staff, and its decision will be made, but from what I hear, it seems like it could be a go, but we'll have to decide how it's going to be.
Okay, so what about are you saying that you want me to wait to order another one of those? One has already been ordered in English
For us,
for you from Garion
you
Construction.
can order the French because.
And I'll order the French one?
Because we've made
Okay.
yeah.
They made the motion,
here
yeah.
was
And
to
after
purchase
that, I'll just wait until I hear back
Until
from
you hear
you.
back from us.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you very much for
Thank
the
you so much.
presentation. Unless someone else has any questions, I don't see anybody with
I'm
their
going
mic.
to leave this with Scott. There's 2 pages there. My information is on there, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present this.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Portugal, that's a long ways from Vancouver.
No, but I'm gonna fly into the Heathrow, take the train and stop in France.
Oh, well, there. You don't speak that.
Okay, we have another presentation. This one is from Vaughn Madden, the Congrès Mondial Acadien 2024 update. So if you want to turn your mic on.
Thank you, Warden, and good evening to you, to Deputy and councilors. I'm a little bit, it's like, how do I follow that act? That's a moving presentation, you know, and.
There it is. You got it.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't wink at Scott. Oh, you didn't tell me the protocol. So, very pleased to be back here again with my colleague Pierre-Luc Brousseau, who is the Communications and Marketing Director for Congrès Mondial Acadien. And let's go. Scott, we'll get right into it. Ooh, yesterday it said 60 days. Today it says 50 days.
I thought it was 5.
I panicked. I don't think I'd be here if it was 5, so. But that's what's happening to us. Like, the days just go by so quickly, but it's exciting. And there's a lot of things that are happening and things that are coming together. And hopefully today you'll see the result of that. So we will go ahead. Now, first thing I want to talk to you about is our stations. These are, in a sense, pop-up information centers, okay? So we have 3 of them, one at University St. Anne's with Le Rendezvous de la Baie, one at the Mariner Center that we're calling the, Central Station, La Station Centrale, and one at the school in Paramba in Tuscany. These are where we're going to direct people. If you have a question during Congrès, where do I get tickets? What is there to do today? How do I get to the Village Acadien? We've even made binders, and if they have a flat tire on the highway, we know where, which company to call, sort of thing, okay? So these are information centers. You guys can use them also, direct people to them. We're also sort of setting up little cafes so people can come in and chit-chat and meet with other people. We have merchandise there. So remember, during the Congrès, if you have a question, direct people to our stations. Our flagship events, which I believe we spoke to you about before, but we have our opening day festival on August 10th at University St. Anne's, La Fête Nationale, happening in Yarmouth at the airport and in downtown, as well as what we're calling l'ultime time at the Mariner Center and L'au revoir at Église Saint-Michel de Wetchford. Initially, I think we were talking about having it at the Tuna Museum, but there was some question there about they were setting up for the festival and us being there, whether that would be a problem. So we just, before the church was completely closed, we were able to get permission to hold the event there. So opening festival, things like people like Tibet Vo and the Hey Babies, the Amis du Teche, they're from Louisiana. So we have people from local, but also from New Brunswick. And in the daytime, it's more friendly, kid-friendly, family-friendly. There's a thing called Flip Bus, the bus that does all kinds of things, I guess, and but interactive, installations, vendors, markets. But then we will have protocol and official opening at about 7 o'clock at night, and then continue into the evening with a show. Next one, I believe, is a little video for the Fête Nationale. No, if you press on the, see if it, on the 10. Will it, no? Okay. All right, so that was for August 15th. August 15th, of course, we announced that we will host the Tintamarre, and it's a Tintamarre by foot, because Claire has adopted in the past doing a Tintamarre with cars. But traditionally, the Tintamarre is on foot. If you go to New Brunswick, you're doing it on foot. So Main Street, Yarmouth, from about the Grand Hotel to Forest Street and back, that's where people will walk and show their colors. They can go there and back, and then people can go to the airport when they want, once they want to, sort of thing. At the airport, there's entertainment starting at about 6, 7 o'clock, but the official show that's being broadcast on CBC starts at 9 o'clock at night. But there again, we have some different things that are happening, for people to and be entertained while they're there. And then we're going to move to the next one, which is, sorry, no, it was La Clôture, sorry. So there's actually 3 events that we're talking about that we're saying is closing. So on the 17th, the Saturday, is another family event at Le Village Historique, Saturday night at the Mariner Center, and then Sunday at L'Église Saint-Michel. So you guys have plenty of time to look at these and start your playlists, so you know who these musicians are, right? There's some great musicians in there. So then we will continue, and I don't know if the video will play if you press on programming. No, it won't play. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, you may have seen this. We've been slowly announcing some events, but then we started going into more details. So there's a Women's Summit. They're hosting their event one day at University St. Anne's, one day in Tuscany. And there's about 100 people that are registered to the Women's Summit. The next one is the Economic Forum, which is organized by the Conseil de Développement Économique de la Nouvelle-Écosse, which will actually be held in Digby. And I think there might be somebody from this room that's actually presenting at the Economic Forum, if I'm not mistaken, Alain, right? And so that's at the Digby Pines, but the 15th, it's more B2B connector type activities. And then what we're calling les états généraux, or in French, we're saying, qu'est-ce que t'en penses? What do you think? So these are consultations that have been happening already throughout the community, and they're still happening, asking people, what do you want to talk about? Like, what are some of the issues, or what are some of the challenges that we have in our Acadian communities that you like to talk about. And during the Congrès, there's going to be a series of conferences and a series of workshops, roundtable discussions where people can drop in and talk about, I'm thinking in French and I can't get the English words out. Their problems, I guess. I don't want to say problems, issues, right? So this is happening on the opening conference. I don't know if some of you recognize the name Zachary Richard.
Yeah.
Okay, so Zachary is actually one of the keynote speakers at the opening conference, and I've seen him do some of these presentations. It's actually quite touching because he talks about, the renewal of the Acadian identity in Louisiana, and it's very similar to what's happening here. So that's what we call these. Pardon me?
Cooking and vox.
Maybe Pierre-Luc can explain a vox pop podcast.
Press it again. It's not coming up.
All right.
There. Oh, it's not that, yep. You're on.
Thank you. Vox Pop is how you would call being interviewed with a camera, either on video or audio, just in your face, asking you questions about a specific topic. There are some compilations of this you can see online where comedians walk about and ask Joe Schmo on the street what they're thinking about so-and-so, politics issue, social issue, et cetera, but it's a well-known marketing ploy to get people to talk about right there and then, no preparation, what do you think about these topics? So how La SNO are bringing these together is they're asking the same questions that they're asking during the dinners and the sit-downs, but throughout the communities for La Diaspora, I don't know there's an exact translation for that one, but throughout the different provinces and regions to understand better, okay, if I'm asking you this directly on the street corner, are we gonna get the same answers or the same kind of first feeling as we would get around the dinner table once you had an hour and a half of a Chef Bussey experience?
Thank you.
Do you remember Rick Mercer? Used to- Yes. Exactly. All right, so part of our objectives all along during the Congrès and the planning was to make sure that we had activities that were family-friendly, but also that involved youth. So there's an artistic residence. So there's actually 11 artists between 19 and 29 that are coming from different parts of the world coming together. They're going to be at St. Anne's for a full week and working together to better understand one another and create, I don't know if it's going to be music or photos or singing or theater, but they'll work this out together. There's also another forum for young ambassadors, which is organized by Francophone Center of the Americas. And these are about 40 young leaders from across, again, the world that come together. They do this every 2 years. And it's sort of a leadership conference in La Francophonie. And then the Conseil Jeunesse Provincial is hosting a provincial youth gathering. Now, these are things that aren't open to the general public, but we wanted to make sure that we targeted events for young people. And, we make sure that there's people from Nova Scotia and from the region that are involved in these. Now, L'Échange at the Mariner Center. This is happening 13th, 14th, 15th. It's like a cultural trade show. So it's more like a Saltscapes than it is like a business trade show. We have more than 65 exhibitors. We're looking at Louisiana Pavilion, Quebec Pavilion, France is there, but also Canadian government, Nova Scotia government. I believe there's the Municipality of Argyle is there. And also some local vendors, Loyal, Nova Scotia. And then also we have a culinary stage, but also a music stage. So that stage will shift from being a music stage to a culinary stage to a presentation stage. So that'll be animated all the time. And it's the Chef Bossé that we've invited to be responsible for the culinary stage. And Chef Bossé will invite local people. So one day it could be food from Quebec, and one day it could be food from Louisiana and local and things like that. So I think that's going quite well, and I think that will be quite animated. After that, what we talk about community programming. And if you look at the poster that's there, it has a date on it, and I'm going to go through a bunch of them, but I'm not going to go detail by detail because then we'll be here till midnight. All this information is on our website, and you can search our website by location, by date, by type of activity. So, for example, on the 10th, now remember, on the 10th, the big day is in Clare, but we still have our station at Parambo. There's a community breakfast in Louise Pomnico, and also an art exhibit at Centre Communautaire de Parambo. We will continue on the 11th and see what's happening in Argyle. So family reunions are starting. Music at the Wedgeport Legion. Vendors market at the Tusket Ford parking lot. And Conseil des Arts Centre Communautaire de Parambo, we might have to check that one. So we're going to continue. We're still on the 11th. These are all events that are taking place in this community, the Municipality of Argyle. One thing that could be interesting, that I find interesting anyway, if you look storytelling at Wedgeport Legion, for 3 days we have an event called Plume et Parole. So there are authors, talking about their books. There are people talking about, presentations, giving conferences, and there's local people. You see a talk by Blair Boudreau, but there's also, and Rachel Watts, who has an interesting story, but also people from, outside. We have, for example, Warren Perrin. Now, Warren Perrin is a lawyer from Louisiana. Warren Perrin is actually the one who asked the Queen of England to give excuses to the Acadian people for the deportation. And I don't know if you remember the story in the news, right? So he's very interesting to talk about. So we have, Zachary Richard will be there and presenting. So there's all kinds of things happening there. On the 12th, again, a lot of things happening at the Legion of Wedgeport. Senator Jean Coin, the latest named senator. Family reunions, we continue on the 12th, some more talks. Then, Benez à Pomnico, those are local musicians that will be playing at the Pomnico Legion. We have some events almost every night at Capeb. We're on the 13th, we're gonna continue. 14th, again, the 14th, so we continue. So this, we're going to go on and on. Like I say, that's, 3 days for the 14th. Then we go on the 15th, probably a little bit less. Now, Yon Etoile, the last thing on this is actually film. So we're showing films also by Acadian producers. The 16th, film Roots of Fires from Louisiana. And then we're going to continue on the 16th. And the 17th, family celebration at the Village Acadien. And also on the 17th, Famille Leblanc, Bruce Degrepont. That's going to be a popular event. And then the 18th, we have sort of the closing. So our mission was to try to use as many local halls as possible, and also to have events in every village, right? So that there's something in Wedgeport, there's something in Pomnico, there's something in Pomnico, there's something in Wedgeport, there are things here in Tusket, there's something at a Club des Îles. I think it's dancing. I think it's learning how to dance. Yeah. So if I remember. So, this is the totality of all the events, and that's out there. Like I say, it's on the website. The other thing that's on our website that we also launched about at the same time is our volunteer program. So volunteer registration is open. We already have over 100 people who have signed up. We have people from BC and from Texas and from everybody, you know, everywhere else, as well as local people that have signed up to come and volunteer. So just to let you know that we have that there. And then I'm going to take a breather and pass it on to Pierre. I know you guys are busy, so I'm trying to go, you know, get a lot of information in a small
Pressing the
amount of
wrong
time.
button or something. Try it again. Request one. How come I don't see it here? It says, oh, wait a minute.
wait a while.
There he is.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, to Vaughn's point, and we usually ask this question after, does everybody know what they're doing every day now? In totality, we've been saying this in ads for the last couple of months, but now seeing it each and every day since we've announced the programming last week. It feels like 3 months ago, but it was last week for us. We now know that over 300 events over 9 days is a lot. We understand it, but at the same time, it's to give as much opportunities to celebrate l'Acadie and l'Acadie du Sud-Ouest de la Nouvelle-Écosse. If you follow the news, we've been really, really well regarded lately with the usage of the types of verbs we use, how we do it, how we're promoting the region. Just because we're talking in a tone that's not about just the history, it's about really come and live it. It's about the experience, about meeting the people, it's about learning about the products, about learning to use the products, the businesses, etc. Really come live qu'est-ce qu'est l'Acadie du Sud-Ouest de la Nouvelle-Écosse. So right now, sponsorship tree, we want to go quickly for you guys. You understand that being funding partners, as we call the various levels of governments, to municipalities and la SNA, you're on everything. So on a lot of the different materials that you will see, the ads that you will also see into different types of applications, our funders are always using the same protocol. We're using the protocol and the alphabetical orders for the different protocols. In the interesting section, where 2 of our sections are fulfilled, we're completed. We have 1 open opportunity on the collaborative level and 3 on the partner level. We're really showcasing this for you tonight just for information only. We're just looking for a few sponsors. If you go to the next one, you'll see we're at 85% of our financial objective. So far, we're well underway to hit the 100 and go over the 100. And where it's interesting, the next couple of slides, I'll show you, and then we prepared for you that there's a few local companies, which is interesting. We really put a focus on why we would go with who's around here, and not just the guys out of either Halifax, New Brunswick, Maine, or outside of it. We really wanted to showcase businesses from here. Now, this one's an interesting for me. Some of you will remember when we announced it that our presenting partner is the town and municipality of Yarmouth. This logo came to us directly from both municipal units working together and understanding that they had to come together to be partners with you guys and us at Le Congrès Mondial. This isn't from my team in design. So that was one of the really nice surprises that we get, but also it enabled us to really create kind of that tighter knit bond within each and every partner we have to really start showcasing what goes around in these communities. The next ones that you see since we announced is the partenariat with the government of Quebec. That's a holdover from 2019. They're really interested into, yes, helping out with everything francophonie, even if it's outside their borders. And the partnership with Louisiana, which is really taking shape, as Vaughn alluded to in some of the programming. So we will see a very large contingent from Louisiana. They will be at l'Échange. They will be in a different capacity and a bunch of different other things. They have conferences. There's a symposium on some of the things from Louisiana too on one of the nights. So it's really a tight partnership. There's a delegation that was here last summer. Some of you might have met them when they were here. So excited that they're coming back. And I believe most of them, if I'm not mistaken, are staying par en bas. So that's a plus for everybody, but it's going to be fun. Now we get into the partner level where we start seeing some more of the recognizable names from around the region too, with both the credit union, La Caisse Populaire, Como, Acadian Seaplants, and then we have a few others, which is mostly either national or Atlantic. And then really on the local level, there's a few. It's really interesting why people would decide to sponsor the event. Some of them is yes for visibilities. Most of them is really to support the region and show that they do support the region in various other ways, shapes, or forms. But they also understand that this is something that came the last time in Nova Scotia 20 years ago. They understand that the last Congrès Mondial Acadien that was here was in 2004. So for a lot of businesses, it's their chance in this generation, for sure, to be part of the event, but also to be part of this for the regions themselves. So they wanted to succeed. Moreover, we launched co-brand program, and this I believe we presented to you before. One of our strategic objective was to use as many products, businesses, and opportunities for the region. So once we put that in market and met with the business in Boatskeg and asked Roddy and Jocelyn if they were interested, I don't think I got a faster yes in my life. And then they were really interested in launching a new product. So the strawberry hard iced tea, which is now available and they're gonna run out very soon. So this shameless plug to buy your products before they run out, is actually a product that will live beyond Le Congrès Mondial. So this is a product that will be part of their mainstay, will be one of the legacy pieces we'll be able to point to and say this is something that's gonna live beyond the promotion and Le Congrès. The Corbry cider, the story with Denise, as you know, she has a very small business, meaning that anything Congrès related would be impossible for her to sponsor on any regular basis because she doesn't have capacity. When we came over with the co-brand opportunity, she said yes, almost as quickly as Boatskeg, and gave us 100% of her production for 2024. Meaning, if you buy a Corbry cider that doesn't have the statue of Evangeline on it, it's not from this year.
It's vintage.
Okay? If ever somebody's curious in your families, it's not from this year. Same product though, but it's not from this year. Heritage in Yarmouth, as you know, these guys, they really interested for us was, yes, they wanted to launch this new product, La Lager de la Mer, which will also remain on their roster post-Congrès. It's their first product with actual French everything. French name, French description. It wasn't anything about language. It was they haven't found the right opportunity to do it. So we provided the opportunity, they jumped on it, and they're in the same boat as Boatskeg and selling very quickly. The final one that we'll present tonight is the Ruthers, the Blonde Rock, one of their mainstay beers. It's something that they've been brewing for a while. They decided to go more of the heritage route with the look and feel, as you can tell, with the Acadian colors. But I'll draw your attention to behind the Blonde Rock logo and all around it, it's all the family names from the family reunions. So we really built it as kind of this legacy piece where people will see themselves, but also there's a few names in there that were added based on who the owners are and who designed it. So we had a little fun, a bit like a wall of fame. But at the same time, it was really to pay homage to all of these families and all of these really 34, 39, I believe we have different family reunions which encompass about 50 or so family names during Le Congrès Mondial this summer. We've also added 2 wines with Maison Muse. These are the look and feel that you will see in the market very soon. These actually just came into the office this week. We have a mustard and an Acadian spice blend, co-brands with Chef Alain Bossé, the Kilted Chef. Both of them will be available on our website and at our Tuscany office or Meteghan, if anybody's looking for it. And then we have some others that we just don't have yet, the look and feels. We'll really keep working with them, and some of there will be stickers, different things. La Brûlerie du Vieux Moulin up in Clare. We just finished the last one yesterday with La Chocolaterie by the Sea, which is in Yarmouth. There's really nice little chocolates with different types of ingredients, so it's really interesting as a core brand, and also the Little Brook Distilling, which is also in Clare. The final bit I have for you tonight is an update kind of on marketing and our media presence, just to give an overview. Every time we do a presentation like this, our last piece of advice is to subscribe to La Rapeur, which is our newsletter. And it's also the main and only piece of 100% information we release, even outside of our social media. It's the longest form content we have. It's also the form that reaches the most people so far. And we have about, as we said in this slide, over 4,600 registration on our newsletter, which is huge for a French-first newsletter on Acadie and even across Canada. The plus 30 on the right-hand side means that we're clipping right now at about a rate of 30 new registrations per week. So, and that's only been increasing in the last 2 editions based on the announcements with Le 15 août, the closing, and now la programmation complète. Following up quickly on Instagram, we doubled literally doubled in the last year. We're also at about 150 a week. And then Facebook likes, we jumped from 2,000 to about 6,700. We're reaching over 139,000 different people with the shares and reshares, et cetera. And the likes and being over about 460 a month. So why we present this is it's an opportunity for all the businesses in the region to tag along. We're saying it, we're open about it. Tell yourselves, the businesses, family members, if we post content out there, tag under it what you have as a programming. If you have something to offer during the Congrès, we're absolutely open and willing for it. And that's why we present these slides to every meeting to open that invitation, because we're creating all this traffic of legitimately people coming here. So it saves the idea of doing le défrichage, if I say quickly in French. So it's an idea just to have that channel for local businesses of different shapes and sizes, and people that do have different type of opportunities, like we're doing it with Tim at Deep Sky Eye, just to showcase his Acadian path that he's doing from the 12th or 13th of August, I believe. He has a very specific special program. So it's something that's kind of built and saying, okay, how can you leverage what we're doing without having to do it all yourself each and every time? In print, we've been doing print advertising, we've been doing radio advertising. We're also going on TV at the end of this month. So you will hear, see, and really see about us. I do believe if you look at the corner of the room, you'll see also the banner program that you guys all know about. So that's going to be another piece of the puzzle that really going in the communities. Moreover, into all the community halls, businesses, and even the ones that aren't sponsor or partner with us, we're bringing forward an event poster that really has everything as a list. It's not a specific what goes on each and every day. It's not a program, but it's also just showcase how big the event is. If you can back up one. We got various flyers and brochures that you've seen before, social media, signage. Everything we do has a QR code. We've gone to QRs for the simple reason that it's easier for bilingualism, and it's also easier with everybody's smartphone to send them directly to the website we want them to visit, including our program. This one we always add to the end of our presentations just to say that yes, we do sell merchandise, but also we do sell merchandise out of our offices. We know we got some orders from people online, either from Clare, from Argyle, from Yarmouth, and then they were asking on our Facebook page, why don't you have a store or an office somewhere? And it's just they never got to our website. They got straight from the ad to our shop. So it's just an information piece to say, yes, we do. All of these are available at our offices. You just need to stop by between office hours.
That's my cue. Okay. I thought maybe we'd just take a few minutes to talk about your role or what we see as your role during the Congrès Mondial, because I'm sure you're asking questions. And yeah, that's fine. You can stay there, Scott. That's very good. You're the hosts. You're the host municipalities. We've been talking about you guys for 4 years. So you have a role to play as hosts. And I think there's some specific events that we're talking about that could be happen. But we're asking you to help us, greet people, to, make sure that people get the information, that we get that information out, and that also that you answer your emails. Because have you received invitations from us? Yes, some have, some haven't. So we've sent invitations for you to attend some of our flagship events, okay? It's pretty vague right now, but you don't get the next information before you RSVP. Okay? Then you get the next steps. So if you wish to attend our events, and we do have on, especially on the 10th and on the 15th, on the sites, there's an area for you guys to be in and to be able to view the events, but also to be able to talk to other partners that are going to be there. And the answers to invitations are starting to come in. And while nothing is confirmed, we are having interest from provincial, national, and international heads of state. Okay, can't guarantee you at exactly who at this point in time, but we are getting, and we'll be, hosting these people, and I need you guys to help us host those people. So hopefully you will join us at these events. And, as we go forward, we'll provide more information. But like, for example, on the 10th, well, the site opens at 10, but our VIP section doesn't open till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then there's meals and there's things. And then you will get, how do we get to you, like your accreditation, because you will actually have to have passes to get on site. And so we'll be explaining all of that information to you if you answer that you're going to be at one of our events. Also, look to your emails because things happen quickly. All of a sudden, it starts to snowball, and all of a sudden, the government of France, might want to throw a little reception, right? And then they say, well, do you have a list of people we can invite to your reception, right? Or then government of Quebec might say, well, I think we'd like to do a little something, right? And so we ask, if you're interested in attending and you're able to attend, because I'm sure that you're going to also be attending events in your area, is to answer those and try to respect our deadlines, because if you miss them, we're going to say, okay. And we can't, we have control over our events, but we don't have control what other people will do and all of a sudden say, so there's that. So that's the other thing. Now, listen, we all know there's chitter chatter in the communities. That happens for everything, right? You guys are in the communities, and I'm sure you're hearing things and people are asking you questions. And we ask you to help us to direct people, like the information is out there. I can tell you that we get about 3 requests per week from people in Africa who want an invitation because they want immigration papers that know about CMA. But somehow, local people can't seem to get information because they don't know where to find it. Now, I'm being tongue-in-cheek here a little bit, I'm being frank, okay? But I know that you guys are in the communities and you're hearing stories. Please help us, right? And if there really is an issue, talk to us. We'll see how we can, we want to resolve some issues. What we really want is everybody to have a lot of fun, and that our visitors that come here have a fantastic experience, and they talk about us for years to come and say, you got to go there, right? What's the show? You got to eat here? It's like, you got to go there. So, information, go to our website. The program is there actually on your phones, like it looks really nice on the phones. Like I say, you can search by date, by category, by community. If you're, social media savvy, there's Instagram. Our Facebook page goes nuts sometimes, and some of the stories that people will tell. The CMO, YouTube, we're starting to post things on our YouTube, but also it's like, if you're on social media at all, please, share our stories with your community. I think that's it. Time for questions.
Any questions? I see Councillor Bork.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Merci. I just have one little, maybe it's a detail thing, maybe you can't answer me, but you can always answer me later. So the 15th of August, they're having the Tintamarre, and Yarmouth is going to be congested. So is there going to be transportation or anything going on there to bring people in, or is there going to be a meeting place? Because I find it's going to all the people are gonna go to Yarmouth for a tandem hour, so where's everybody gonna park?
So we did that whole evaluation, obviously, before announcing it, and you know what, yes, Stars Road is going to be congested, it doesn't matter how you look at it, because there's only one entry to the airport parking on Haley Road across from the Mariner Center, okay? So we know that that's gonna take a lot of time, and that's why we're opening this site like at 5 o'clock, so people who want to go and, you know, get a good parking spot and go on the site, they can do that. We will provide maps, and we'll put maps up on our website indicating to individuals where can you park downtown Yarmouth. And downtown Yarmouth, the street, Main Street will be closed, okay, for a certain period of time. So we'll start closing it off at about 5 o'clock, like after businesses close, so that people get a chance to go out. But yeah, it'll be a little bit congested, and I know local people will find it congested, but depending where people come from. We are, however, looking at the possibility of possibly booking people from the airport to downtown and back.
Okay.
Okay? So right now, we have several people. Andre Boudreau from, some people might know Andre Boudreau is one of them that's working with us on the logistics of the transportation and things like this. So all that information we will be putting out. We know Stars Road is a busy place in the summertime to begin with, but you know, we've had those, and we're talking to RCMP, we're talking to you know, the command center, we're talking, you know, security, you know, we have a security company that's working with us to try to make that as seamless as possible. But it will be like going to Ribfest or going to, what else do they host at the airport? Air show or something
Yeah.
like that. I mean,
Yeah, so how many people right now, how many people are you envisioning coming? And you know how many eggs to buy.
that's very good. Well, I mean, I think, you know, in all, we're still saying we're about 15,000 people from
15?
across. But on August 15th, our safe number we're saying is about 7,500 people at the airport. We're planning for 10.
I'm gonna say 10.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're ready for it if we need to, but, I mean, and that will be the event which has the most number of people at the same time.
Yep.
Right? After that, people will be spread out going to different activities, and that's why we have so many different activities, so that, you know, you can have maybe 200 at Club Acadien and 200 here. So that's what we're planning for, and you know, like I say, we're meeting with all the you know, licensing agencies and public health and EHS and everything to plan for that.
Yeah. One more comment. I won't hog the mic, but I'm hogging it today. I'm happy, it's just a comment, I'm happy that you're concentrating on the youth, because even in my generation, the Acadian language is starting to really dwindle down. So if you're concentrating on the youth, the future, we need to concentrate on that, so. Okay, that's it.
You mentioned something about invitations. We've been getting invitations. Is that what you're to attend? I don't remember seeing anything online.
Okay.
I did.
Okay, yeah, okay. I thought maybe it went to council and somehow we didn't see it, but it was just
So.
individuals.
If you would like us to proceed in a different way, because what we've done is we've gone and gotten your counselor or your emails that are on all the counselors' emails on the website. So if you find, you know, and maybe you can discuss this when we're not here, and you say, you know what, the best way to do this is perhaps send a message to Scott, and you guys will get it out internally, or whatever. So either go in your spam files, see, and
Yeah,
but if you haven't
exactly.
received anything, let us know. Because one of the events, and I know that some of you have answered, is a wine and cheese on July 5th at Capeb, right? That's kind of like our 1 month away. with all councils are invited, as well as like our funders such as ACOA and Canadian Heritage, the province, government of Quebec are there, but also our sponsors. So we've invited everybody to come and have like a little celebration, okay? We're ready, one month, and then we get to know one another a bit more, because we're gonna be seeing a lot of one another. Yeah, right?
Okay. Anybody else? Councillor Surratt?
I just gotta say, what a wonderful presentation. Man, dear alive, I've been waiting for this. Yes, I'm friggin' pumped. I really can't wait. My family from Ottawa, they've been questioning and asking and going on the sites. And then this is gonna be great. 95 of us gathering in Threads Island. My family is gonna be great. Thank you for this presentation.
Okay. Don't see any more questions. So all of this information is on the website.
We haven't given you any
Everything you
secrets
presented
tonight.
here is on the website. Because I try to remember most of it, but I left a few out.
Well, there's a very helpful feature coming soon that on the app itself, once we release it, you're gonna be able to plan your week.
Okay,
So to actually select each and every
Okay.
one of them, day by day by day.
yeah.
So that's available to all attendees, everybody, it's public, so it's not by invitation. Really helps you kind of create your path throughout
Right.
where you want to go and how you
Yeah.
want to live it.
Are you aware of a film that's going to be made by a Phil Como? Okay, and that's during CMA, that he's going to do that. The film's only going to come out probably in March of 2025, but I have an email. And that's what I understood, that he's doing it. I thought at first it was for CMA, but it's during CMA that he's filming, is that the artists?
Okay, so I think there's a couple of elements of answers. So Phil Como, he's one of the film producers that we actually are highlighting. So during CMA, he's got a couple of films, his films that are being presented.
That will be presented?
Yes. So August 16th at CAPEB, I think Scott and I were looking at it the other day. So August 16th at noon, CAPEB. And it's his documentary on the Acadians of Belle-Île-sur-Mer.
Okay,
And there's actually, Père Modeste is in the video. Now, I'm sure Phil always films during the Congrès, because he
Okay.
uses that to produce other documentaries. So he may have another project.
he
that-
must have.
Yeah, he's always got,
Something about the artists, les artistes de la région. And so, anyway,
okay.
He has
Yeah.
has a
But, yeah,
request.
he's
from us
always
here. Okay.
got projects on the go, so,
Good.
yeah.
Well, if there's no more questions, I thank you very much for the presentation. It was very informative, and we're here.
All right. You've been there all along, and we really appreciate it, so.
Yeah, and you.
7 days, 4 hours, 11 minutes.
So
We,
it's my website and I stopped looking at it every morning.
yeah, but it started this 5 years ago, and we think you've got lots of time, and here we are, a couple of months away.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
All right. And I still say I'm gonna dance at
Never. Never. You got something? It might be in spam. Because I want to go, I mean, just something like that, I want to be there.
I can't go,
Okay,
because I'm going on vacation.
okay.
Yeah, so how did we get the email? Do you want me to email it to you? I'll forward it to you.
Oh, welcome aboard. I imagine.
You've got 10 minutes.
I got 10 minutes to finish the rest. Okay. We'll continue. The next item is the adoption of minutes. We have the May 23rd, 2024 Executive Council meeting minutes. Any errors or omissions? Do you want me to wait till you read them? If there's no errors or omissions, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Recognizing Argyle, anybody on council have any announcements or something they would like to talk about? Something that's happened since last meeting or whatever?
Keep going.
Keep going. Seeing none? Committee, warden's report, sorry. That's attached.
That's for the next item.
For the next item, okay, committee reports. Deputy Warden.
I'll go very quickly. Okay, I'm just going to go through the committees that I was on. So we had an ARC, we had our AGM meeting, and then Natalie came and presented to council not long ago. But I just wanted to highlight one thing that we talk about at meetings. We've talked about it more than one time. I just want residents to be aware and council to be aware that there is a fund out there. If there are students or there are youth in your communities that the family cannot necessarily afford to play a sport, we do have funding available for those children. So it's not well utilized, and I think it's because people aren't always aware that it is out there. So if you know somebody in your community that they may not be able to afford to play the sport and might need some financial assistance, we do provide that through our ARC. So I just wanted to mention that. Mariner Center, so we did get, I think since the last meeting, we've had the final approval for the GIBC funding. That is a go, we're good to go. We got an email today that the Class A estimate is expected within a couple of weeks. So Mark Brophy has been working on that value engineering, trying to bring the cost down as much as he can. The hope is that as long as we are within our budget, the goal is to have the tender issued by the end of June. End of June. Last but not least, we had a doctor recruitment meeting yesterday, and we're seeing we're recruiting more and more doctors. I know you guys don't always see the work that's done because a lot of it is kept confidential until it's like final, but we are getting in better and better shape all the time. Family medicine continues to be the area that we are, we still have some vacancies there, some issues there, but we were asked to let council know, if you hear about housing, especially within the Yarmouth area, we're always looking for housing for residents coming in or new doctors coming in. If you know of housing, you can even send me an email. I will send it to the committee to let them know that there is some housing possibilities, because that's one issue that new doctors coming in are having a hard time with, even the residents coming in. And we just got information yesterday or the day before that Nova Scotia Health is getting a recruiter for Yarmouth. So the recruiter, and I'm not talking about what we're paying for, they are putting a recruiter in this area. So the recruiters that we had were working from Bridgewater. It was South Shore. So their area was from Bridgewater down to here. So they were burning out because they were trying to do everything that they could for that whole region. And they were advocating for us, saying we needed somebody, and they approved it. So that is really good news for us. And that's hot
And
off
that
the
is
press.
different than our navigator.
Yes.
It's
That
different.
it is. So we had two that work for Nova Scotia Health, and they attend every meeting that we have. And they do work with us, but again, they're working for so many different areas, so we will have somebody more concentrated in this
Okay,
area.
good.
Okay?
I attended the graduation for the resident, right? There was 4, I think there might have been 5, there was only 4 there. They had mentioned another one. but I think I understood that one is staying in the area.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Councilor Boudreau.
Thank you very much, Warden. A question for Nicole. Like the housing for these doctors, do they have to be like a certain timeframe, like a, how can I say this, an hour or half an hour from the hospital, or?
They prefer to be, I think, within 15 minutes from the hospital, because if they're on call,
Okay,
they
yeah.
have to be able to be quite close. That's
Okay.
why it's harder for us, because we don't
Yeah.
always have those connections right in Yarmouth. We know of some opportunities in our municipality, but they're not always ideal.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
those,
That's
yeah.
why I was wondering, because
Yeah.
I did, yeah. Okay,
So I
thank you.
just wanted to kind of put the bug in your ear
Yeah.
in case that you did
Yep.
hear something.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any committees they want to report on? Councilor Surratt.
Just that we had the waste check meeting, and kind of interesting, maybe Ted can fill something in here, but they did an audit, they had done an audit in 2017, and the audit is for garbage. Garbage that goes to to our waste station, and it was done all over Nova Scotia. And the audit in 2017, they did another one in 2023. 54% of our garbage is recyclable. So 54%, right? That's what you got, Ted, right? I was just blown away of what, is put in the garbage. This is unbelievable, and people should know, but I'm just totally flabbergasted. But anyhow, so there's plenty of work to do, in the next years to try to bring that number down. The other thing I have is we had a meeting with the airport, and there's issues with PFAS seeds. This is contaminants that were in the east side of the airport property when they did firefighting. What they used to kill the fire, let's say it was a fuel fire, it was contaminants in the ground. When Transport Canada was doing this testing and this firefighting, the contaminants, let's say, were, if you had 25% of whatever was in the ground, it was acceptable. Well, now the things have changed since the Airport Commission took over, and I think now it's 10%. So the environment's after us to clean that up. I think I've brought it up a couple of times, and it's going to be very costly, and we're trying to get, and I think Alain remembers this when he was interim manager there, that it's an ongoing issue, but the environment is pushing hard for us to do the cleanup, and it's big, big money. Just want to pass that along.
With the garbage, if I may, things haven't changed since they've gone to the clear bags, I wonder? Or are they just not paying attention to the clear bags? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like-
Well, I can answer this in two different ways. The first thing, when the clear bags came out, so there's no black bags, obviously, they got phone calls left and right for people wanting carts. The carts were somehow lost, somehow the carts weren't around. Well, let's face it, as our manager said, they probably weren't using carts, they were putting in the garbage, in the black bags. So all of a sudden, there was a big rush on green carts. Can you imagine? So by doing the clear bags, certainly it's helped in that end. Also, with the clear bags, we were talking to the gentleman who's the manager of the Waste Authority, and he said they're getting a lot of better stuff, clear bags, and so there's less stuff going in
Okay.
as garbage.
Which was the idea, to have the clear bags.
That's
to
right. So
eliminate
we'll
that.
probably only see that 54%, I'm hoping, we're all hoping to see that, maybe go down less now that it's all clear bags. So we'll know in the next audit, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
That's it.
Councilor Sonia.
Thank you, Warden. I couldn't let Guy steal all the fire here, so. They also talked about, one brought up the subject of how to get rid of Japanese knotweed. We all know that stuff that looks like bamboo. And then that evolved into invasive species, and there's two in Yarmouth that's been recognized with the Japanese knotweed, and there's also the Himalayan blackberry, I think it was, yeah. And they're very invasive, and we were discussing how to manage that, and they said that would be more a council or provincial issue, so something we can probably talk about in the future, not just now. And a lot of that spread is caused by ditching sometimes. People will, they will ditch, and then they will dump it, someone will want it for fill, unknowing that it's got all this contaminants in it, I call it. And I don't know what can be done about it, but it was quite interesting to see. So, thank you.
Okay.
Japanese knotweed, there's a lady that's from Ontario that's bought a house not far from me, and I don't know how much money she has spent trying to get rid of it in her back field or yard, whatever. Gravel, the felt, and I looked the other day and it was popping up through everywhere. So she's gonna loom the whole area, plant grass, and just mow. Like the mowing will keep it down. But it's the root system. You can't kill the roots. It's like they're bulbs and they're just pop up everywhere. So it's yeah. Anyhow, thought I'd share that exciting story.
Anybody else have anything to, on committees? Seeing none, we'll move on. We've got 7-day notice, property auctions and tenders, and there's an attachment. Are there any questions? Again, this is your 7-day notice. It'll be up at the next meeting for decision. No questions? The other 7-day notice, Article C14, healthy eating in recreation settings attachment. And I think there's a section here that's been eliminated. I looked at the changes, and I saw there was a whole couple of sections that were eliminated.
Partnerships at the bottom.
Partnership, yep, partnerships. And the other one was the promotion, advertising, and pricing. Any questions? Seeing none, for decision and discussion. Article C17, involuntary destruction of property. Council.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? There's no questions. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded.
9C. Where's your sign, Councillor Donaldson?
What's
Where's your
that?
sign? 9C. You missed 9C.
Oh, sorry. I always miss one.
It's just-
Article
it's
workplace wellness. That's a 7-day
It's to
notice
see if
as
we're
well.
paying attention, that's all, right?
Oh, first of all, we have a motion on the floor. You moved one. We may as well deal with that one. All in favor, signify by saying aye. And that was Article C17.
Yeah.
That's it, exactly. Contrary minded, carried. Okay, 9C is workplace wellness. Again, just a few minor changes. And again, it's the 7-day notice. Okay. Again, back to decisions until I have to go back for another one somewhere. Article C18, Growing Community Scholarship.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, carried. Article C36, Audit Committee, and there's an attachment, and there's been changes to the Audit Committee. We've added more public members, or I guess that's what they're called. And there's going to be a few more meetings, like we're going to meet probably 4 times a year rather than a couple of times a year that we were. And I think I saw here, it says the audit committee shall consist of 2 committee members, also an alternate, and at least 1 citizen appointment. Now, we have more than 2 council members. Is that going to change? Do we go with this with just 2 now? Because I think at the last, you're a committee member, I'm a committee member. Calvin, Gordon,
I am.
and you are. There's 5 of us. Is that something we have to look at maybe at our next, after the next election, or when we go? Yeah. It's membership
2 council plus 1.
plus 1 alternate.
And we have 4.
We have 5.
5.
Well, maybe one of them was an alternate. I don't know. I know we had 5 names.
Yeah, I think that it may just be, I don't think that the policy is wrong. I think that we have a lot more council members than we require, and maybe some of that had to do with the fact that we never had
the public.
before. So we haven't really adjusted that. So we may have to look at the who will be on that committee moving forward. Now, of course, obviously, if you wanted to change that number to 3 council members, I don't think you need a 7-day notice to do that. Like, that could be done it could be done now.
Probably.
Yeah, because it doesn't change the nature of it.
No.
And we have apparently 18 members on the committee, so, yeah, so it's up to you. I think that if you had 4 and 2, it would make sense. But that's just an opinion.
Right, yeah.
I really like the people.
At this point, we have to decide who stays and who's not going to be on it, right?
I'd take one for the team.
Any other volunteers?
Did I say that fast enough?
Or do we just leave this, and then when we form the committee again, we just trying to keep her on the committee? Some of us, exactly, but it's not, sorry, Councilor Bork. Didn't see your green light.
Well, since the committee's not going to meet until probably the new year, so why don't we wait to decide who's
To
going to
do
be
this,
on the audit
exactly.
committee when the new council comes in October,
Because committees
November.
change after the election.
Unless
committees
you're
change.
having a new, another audit committee meeting in the
Prior
meantime?
before.
Prior before, I don't know,
I-
one more?
We'll have 1.
We'll have one
You have
before.
one?
Yeah, because the audit is presented
Yes,
in final to that committee.
yeah.
So can we just continue the way we are now and then
I
change?
think, I think so, and just change it when we
Right.
reestablish the committees.
Yeah.
Yeah, the suggestion was that you could easily change from 2 to 3. You obviously still have too many members, but that's a third of your council.
That's right.
And that's a nice compliment to the 2 members, to the 3 members that we have. We have 3 and 3. So that would be really, to me, that would make sense.
That makes
That
it
you would
good.
have 3 members.
good
You can
combination.
get rid of the alternate comment.
Exactly.
That's, the warden and the deputy can serve on any committee, typically the warden, and if he's designated the deputy, that person can become a member, an alternate to that position. So I would suggest 3.
Okay.
Three council
counselors.
members and how
No.
many from the,
We have 3 public community.
So that's
public
6?
members. That's
Yes.
It says
So
at
do you-
least 2. It says at least 2, but we have three right now. Or, no.
Consists
No,
of
it says
two.
one. It says one
At
here.
least one, but we have three. We have three right now.
The MGA on audit committee requires you to have at least one citizen
At
appointment
least
that
one.
has financial
Right.
acumen.
And that's why it's there.
Correct, so that's the
Okay.
minimum standard. So.
Right. But you can have more.
Yes, and so it says at least one, and we have three, and there's nothing in the policy that says we can't have three.
Okay.
But I would
So-
suggest we change it from 2 council members to 3, and that one of those council members, or we boil it down to 3 members. We
Right.
don't have to do that today.
No.
No, exactly.
But do you have to have an odd number? No?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Okay, so there is a motion to accept this. And that would change 2 to 3. Is that correct?
If the mover and seconder
If the
are
mover
willing.
and seconder agree with that. Who moved that?
I will.
It was already moved and seconded, I think.
I have no idea.
I thought
I
we
never
we
did.
had someone who
I
moved
have no idea
this.
where we're at. Are we still in Nova Scotia?
Okay,
I'm throwing monkey wrenches all over the place.
yes.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Councillor Surratt, did you have to, or did you want to move it? Is that what you wanted to do?
I have no idea what I,
So any questions on this?
We're in fine form tonight. We're just like, I'm getting out of here.
If there's no questions, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried. Article D, ADA status
No.
update.
No, before that.
D, municipal public announcement, Councillor Saunier.
Thank you, Warden. The municipality in the past weeks has been questions over whether it has held or denied public information to residents in order to advance government initiatives. I assure you that is not the case and that such accusations can only lead in undermining public trust and confidence in council and the administration. The municipality followed all the rules, public notifications as protocol requires. However, it is accepted that we can improve and make public notifications better. The question is, how do we do that? To Councillor Deputy Warden Nicole Albright, she mentioned that funding for sports was not getting through. I will also add that the municipal low-income fund, some people have missed out on that because they did not know it existed, and when they found it was too late. And of course, the ADA messaging was caused a lot of problem. So I believe that we should add something to our messaging so that it can improve and get the message out there. I have shown a few counselors in this group that the Lobster Bay Shopper is being utilized by neighboring municipalities. I'm not sure if it helps them get the message further, but it should. I'm guessing it does. So that's only one of the things that I've seen that can improve our messaging to the public. But I think with this group here, we can come out with even more. But anyhow, it's open for debate, and I think something that we should definitely talk about because it's creating a problem, and I think we can help fix that. Thank you.
Councillor D'Entremont.
Thank you, Warden. I know in bigger companies and corporations and probably bigger government entities, they have a communication specialist or a communications officer or whatever you want to call it. Of course, our municipality is small size. I'm not sure if that's feasible or not, but it might be an option to look at because we've obviously seen some miscommunication in the last while here, and it's been nothing but, it's been, a little bit of trouble for us at the municipality. So I don't know if that's an option or not, but anyway, I know that's how some organizations, I guess, take care of that piece, so. Thank you.
Councillor Surratt?
Yes, great topic, Councillor Saunier. And I agree with Calvin, Councillor D'Artimo, yeah, it's a great point. I just like to comment, I guess, on some of the things that we've done that's worked. You know, when I look at the municipal building, that, I was so proud of the way it was announced and in different communities, and to me, that was a win-win. We certainly did a great job. And on the ADA, certainly, we missed a number of people, a lot of the residents, and we're hearing a lot about it. I honestly think that if we would have had some of these, like we did for the building, for the municipal office, in some of the districts, meeting in each of the district, that would have been a great help. The message would have gone out. It would have, I'll talk to myself. I bet you one gosh darn thing, if there's a meeting down my way, God darn, I'm going to let people know what's going on and to come and the reason to come. It smarts me up as far as that goes, you know. So I agree, we can do better. And I think that the meetings in each district would be a great help, because I know he did for the municipal office. On the windmills, I'll also go and talk on the windmills. I did talk to Ted a little bit before our meeting tonight. That was well done. Well done, and I know there was some flack coming out, and I know the $80,000 that came about that got quite a buy-in. But you know what? Those meetings were well attended. They were put in the district where the windmills were going, and to me, it worked. And if we can take some of those things we've done right and apply it to this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deputy Warden.
I think, I thank you for bringing this up, because I think it's something that's been on all of our minds recently. I think, as we know, we did put information out on our website, but the question I'm asking myself now is, was it specific enough? And obviously it wasn't, because our residents didn't see themselves in that information. So I feel like, kind of like Calvin said, we're at a point where how big do we have to be to have our own communications person? Because when it comes to having to put out that information, somebody here has to do it, but everybody here already has a job, right? They already have a job that they're taking more and more on. So are we at a point where we have to have the discussion about a communications person? And when you brought up about the building, one of the things that worked too, because we can put information out, but one of the things I've learned as in my other job as a teacher is not everybody reads things anymore. They really don't. And if it's too long, people aren't going to read it. But the videos we had done for the building, right? People will watch a quick snippet of a video. So I know we're jumping, like you're probably thinking, who's going to do the videos? But that's just it. I feel like we're almost at a point where we need to really think about our next steps in terms of communication, because think about it, if we could put little videos of somebody explaining, even think about Christmas time, your videos, people watch that. They watch those things, right? And they're more inclined to do that, right, rather than read something. So I don't know, I think I'm glad you brought it up. I think it's time we move forward and think about what we're going to do about this, because we're seeing now that we do need to do something. Thank you.
We upset him.
He's done. His cat is lonely.
So, okay.
From a staff's perspective, we will certainly look at what the priorities are that are most important for council. I think that when we look at our organizational chart, I think it's time for a review. You know, we have to take a look at, this is one potential item. In some cases, we might be able to do, I'm confident that existing staff could do more communications and less something else. We had a communications development officer position that we did not fill. we shifted responsibilities to the deputy CAO, and we actually, if you remember, had to hire a second bylaw enforcement officer as a consequence, and so we had to make a choice as to what we needed the most. So we're faced with I think, with an opportunity to do better on communications, and it's not just on big issues. It can be everyday issues. It can be all sorts of things that will come at an investment. If you were looking for a full-time person, we can reach out to our other units. Maybe they have one that they're not fully utilizing, and maybe there's opportunities to do something differently there. The other two positions, so one's already been approved, is the housing coordinator. We haven't put that out yet, but that's a new position. The other position that I want to just raise here, not to distract from this issue, is the fire coordinator. So with the fire recommendations that will be coming out, there's likely to be a need or a want to hire a full-time fire coordinator. So all of this means we need to review our org chart and make sure that you understand the investments that we're looking at doing and the priorities around that. So we're more than willing to do that. We have to look at our org chart. It's time anyway. So we can take a broader look for sure. That's the will of council.
Thank you, if I may, a second time. I just feel like we're growing as an organization. We're getting bigger and bigger, and we're working on bigger and bigger things. And sometimes we hear the comment of, well, there's a lot of people that work at the municipal office. I know when I first came on council, that was something that people said to me. There's a lot of people that work down there. Do we really need all those people? But anybody who walks into this organization and sees what our people do here would be amazed at how much they go above and beyond. And we're growing, our projects are bigger. I think it's really time that we think about, how do we grow with that? How do we make sure we're doing things well so that we're not in a situation like we're in right now? Thank you.
Councillor Sonia?
I'd rather see Glenn go first. He hasn't talked. This is my second time up, so.
Okay. Councillor Digdon?
Thank you. The only thing I was going to say is, even if it would not be a full-time person to get communications out there, actually, we do have a communications company in our municipality that does communications and is a growing company, and by what I've heard, doing very well with their company. And the clients are very happy with them. So might be even, as far as getting them in and just having a chat with them, what can you help us with and where would we go from here? Thank you.
Councillor Vort?
Yes, thank you. I would just like to say that hiring somebody for communication would be a very good idea, and it would release some of the staff that are overdoing their work. So you have to be careful that our staff is not going to do burnouts and they're doing too much. And like Nicole said, we are growing, and that's good, and we have to get bigger. So I foresee that we should probably look into this. Thank you.
Councillor Sonia?
Kathy just hit the nail on the head.
Okay. So, do we want to, we can't make a motion on what we're going to do because we don't know what we're going to do. But we can make a motion to direct staff to look at what can be done. Is that what we're looking for?
Options.
Of different options and what's felt that.
If you're looking for help on the wording, I think this is an organizational chart issue. I'm not a big fan of saying you need a position. It's let's look at this strategically and look at where are we heading, because we are growing and our staff is stretched. And so, but we've always been very cost conscious here, and so we try to do perhaps at times to our own detriment too many things. There's no question that it has grown and so from our perspective, in order to, anyway, if I can just get to the point, is to just suggest an organizational chart review, and then we can come back with some options for you to think deeper on. After that, I feel like you'd be in a better position to make a good decision on the totality of the municipality as opposed to reacting to a situation that may have occurred, which is not a small situation. But I think it's highlighted a couple of issues for me personally. One is that you can always do better. And also our association with the province of Nova Scotia kind of hindered our ability to communicate as effectively as we've done on other projects. So, and I'm not, this is not to put anybody under the bus. It's not about that. It's about when you are in a partnership with another organization, it changes the way that you approach certain things. And I think this is certainly what's happened here. It's their project. It has been from the beginning. We've inputted a lot in that project. But at the end of the day, we're the ones that are getting out there, getting the information out, trying to get the information out. Maybe late in the game for some, and that's unfortunate. And we never want that. We've never wanted that. So if this is one of the solutions, then so be it. I would suggest that if you direct us to look at the org chart, we'll certainly do that. There's other things going on too. We have succession planning and recreation and other places that we have to really take a broader look at it. It's time. It's time. So we're happy to do the work for you if that's what you want.
Okay. So, I see another speaker here.
It's me again. I also, we know what spawned this question, right? But I think we need to take care of the little things as well. If someone is missing a tax exemption because we didn't communicate properly, we got to look at that too. That's what I'm getting at here.
And
So
that
it's-
would be part of the organizational review as well, because it would be communications and how do we get things out and whatever as
Right.
well.
Yeah, that's my point. Thank you.
Councillor Surratt.
I'd just like to chime in a little bit here on, probably make some controversy from people listening, but how many times do we put stuff out that people don't look either? I'll take the lead here. I can be to blame for stuff like that. In my own area, it could be a flea market or some darn thing. And I just didn't read it. I was in if it affects me, that's when the day before, the same day it happens, I'll say, holy smoke, where was I? Or I didn't look. And I think that happens to many people until it happens to them or that's when they say, oh, gee whiz, I do kayaking. There was information out there. Was it enough? Obviously not. We wouldn't be getting the flack we're getting. But people have to take responsibility to also to try to read and catch up and find out. I was asked today, I was never told there was a June 4th meeting, the June 4th meeting. Well, gee was jumping. It's splashed out on that Facebook page. It was there. It was on our website. And this person, I talked to them and I'd let them know. And I didn't know. If I had known, I would have been there to see. So up to a point also, some people have to take responsibility that they didn't look. But anyhow, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, so do we need a motion? We should have a motion for that. Motion for,
Second.
okay, moved and seconded. We know what the motion is. You have the motion?
I think we have the wording.
You have the wording. Give us the wording so we know what we're voting on.
Let's create a motion for you and then read it to you.
Give her a chance.
Yeah.
Put your mic on.
Put your mic on.
There you go.
Okay, it is moved by Councillor Geeseret and seconded by Deputy Warden Nicole Albright for staff to review the organizational chart.
And provide recommendations to council.
So that's what we're voting on. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, carried. We're at E.
Thank you, council.
Yes, I think it's time.
I think it was important. It was an important discussion.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
ADA status report or update. there's two attachments, and I see that's our CAO.
I'm going to be brief on this one, which maybe is counter to 10D, but you should have time, yeah. So I've just attached, or we have attached a couple of attachments. One is information that the province put out on, they were an invited guest to the Aquaculture Association of Nova Scotia's open house, which was very well attended by some of our youth, especially, that saw themselves in a potential business opportunity. Controversy aside, there are a lot of sites for ADA that are seen to be suitable to many people. I think the issue is more proximity to residential homes that some people have an issue with, and we got to deal with that, and we're going to be dealing with that. So we're going to be dealing with that in two ways. One way the province has to deal with, which is they have 6 sites that they've put out for a proposal. Now, keep in mind, this is not for a lease, this is for an interest. Are you interested? So there's 6 sites, 3 of which are not in any vicinity of any residential homes. And when I say within vicinity, I mean 500 meters. That's a lot.
be a problem.
500 kilometers is a lot. 500 meters is more accurate. But there are some that are closer to certain residences, and in some cases, the residences can actually see the potential expansion and have concerns around navigation, et cetera. They have less concerns about those the further away they are, because there's less navigation, there's less of those things that are happening in those areas. So I just want to give an update on that. The province is going to find out whether or not they're going to get an interest. If they don't get an interest, it's no different than the 47 remaining sites. They just become dormant until we can discuss it further. In other cases, they might have, it's a competitive situation. They may have more than one interested party, more than one competition. And then what happens is they end up getting a lease application if one person is selected, and then they are able to apply for a lease. The lease is it doesn't have to be smaller than the polygons, but they are 99% smaller, because the polygons represent just areas where they were analyzed. That doesn't mimic exactly and precisely where oyster leases are to be issued. So oftentimes they're much smaller. I'll use islands. There's one next to Surrett's Island. It's actually the closest one to my house. As an illustration, it is a very large hexagon, many hectares large, but anybody who knows those waters knows that there's no way that you could use that entire space. There are ledges, there are rocks, there are all sorts of other obstacles. So what happened was, instead of saying, okay, well, there may be 6 really small areas that you can use, they said, well, no, let's just paint it as one. That did not have the positive intended result. I think people saw that and said, oh my dear, how is that going to work? So a lot of people had fear over that, and that's understandable. So I guess what I'm saying is those leases will get an application, and then we'll know exactly what they look like. At that point, the residents will have their chance to input on that, which is much better than on a big polygon that doesn't really mean anything. On the remaining 47, I want to say to you, we've said it on Facebook, I'm going to say it here live, that the 47, there is no intention for the province to put out another lease. That was confirmed by them. Again, remember, it's their project. We were involved. So they have decided that no other lease will go out until we further this discussion, because we all feel like we didn't get everything from everyone the way that we should have. We all feel that way. So the 47 will be looked at that point. The attachments, they're twofold. There is a provincial attachment there that it was initially distributed at the open house, as I said. It will be further distributed in the near future. It talks about the process of how the province would see these potential leases. It's very informative. It's put out by them, and they're going to put out more information in the future. Lastly, there is just a summary of what we posted on our Facebook page, and eventually we will be putting out a mail out. We just don't know when or what that will contain at this time. We are working with Iris Communications, and that was one of the suggestions of one of our residents mostly concerned about this, said that you need to get you need to get comms out there, and so we agreed, and council certainly agreed, and here we are. So that's the update I want to give you on the ADA. Last thing I'll say is the deadline for proposal is the 15th of June, which is the day after tomorrow, which happens to be a Saturday. I'm not sure how that works for the province, whether they go to Monday or I mean, they're not going to, I mean, anyway, I'm not sure how they work. Revenue Canada says it's Monday when it lands on the weekend, but they're not Revenue Canada. So I'm not sure how that works. I suspect people, and so after let's say Monday, we'll try to get information from the province to understand whether they received any interest. And if any of the sites received zero, then I think that should be made public rather quickly. So if people are concerned with a region that's close to theirs, they might breathe a sigh of relief. A lot of anxiety for nothing. I don't mean to say that, loosely, but I mean, it is an anxiety-provoking thing when it's coming around your area. If you know that it's not, then it's a breath of relief. Okay, well, now let's talk. And I suspect the others that received a proposal, I'm not sure if they will be able to disclose too much other than the fact that they received an interest maybe. We'll see after the 15th. Again, not our process. We're kind of watching it too. That's about all I would have on, on the ADA update, unless there are any questions.
Councillor Surratt.
Yes, I have two questions. These will go to our CAO. I was reminded by three of the groups I met that they had a question. I did pass a question on to the municipality, and we haven't had a response. And was, how were the sites, the 6 sites chosen?
Yeah.
And obviously, why would there be 2 next to Surratt's Island and maybe 2 in Eelbrook, and why none in Westport, or, and that was, some are saying, is there collusion, is there, the Facebook group, it's all, but I've had some questions on why these 6, how did these 6 get priority over maybe out of the 53?
Right.
Who answers that? Is it municipality?
No. The reason why you don't have an answer is that we have flipped that question to the province. The province was responsible for the selection of the sites. The province was the one that was responsible for choosing the 6 that went out for lease. We did not know what sites were going to go out to lease until the 15th of April, the announcement. We had no idea. So we did have involvement in the sites in draft form, and there were over 80 at the beginning. Many were eliminated after we talked to fishermen and tried to get information. Some may remain that are less than adequate, and if they're part of the 6 sites, then there's a process for that. But we've asked that question multiple times with the province, and we are impatiently, anxiously waiting an answer, because that's a fair question. It's probably the most important question anybody might have. How did this process come to be? The province has come back to us and said that they recognize that information should have been made available earlier. And so they're on it now. So as soon as we get that answer, we'll flip it to you, and we'll flip it to any community member that has asked the question. Great. But it's the province that will answer.
Great. Mr. Chair, question number 2. I've had one phone call and very concerned about FOIPOP information. And the person said, why do we have to pay for FOIPOP information? And I told that person, I said, well, I think it's under the Municipal Government Act. And he said, well, why are some so expensive? And they didn't name a number. I did say to the CAO a number, which was, I said, the person never said a number.
Right.
I'm the one that said the number. But like, he wanted to know and asked me publicly where does it start at $5? Does it start at $3,000? How does that come up, the amount?
Okay, that's an excellent question as well, because many of our residents aren't used to having to ask for FOIPOP information from us. Most of our residents would send us questions, and sometimes long questions.
FOIPOP is?
Sorry, I'll start with what FOIPOP is. So
yeah.
FOIPOP is a legislation that the province has put together. It is freedom of information, that's the FOI. protection of privacy is the POP. So there's two aspects so the legislation is put out to make sure that if people want to get information about the comings and goings of government, that they can request information if they don't feel like they're getting satisfaction with questions they might be asking informally. So we get informal questions all the time. Like, we never get FOIPOP requests, because if Guy Surette wants to ask us a question, we answer the question.
Yeah.
And so some people will go down the FOIPOP route. Oftentimes media will choose that as an option if they want information on an issue. Can be a resident, can be anyone. And so why do we charge a fee? Well, we have to charge $5 minimum by law. So that's not an Argyle decision, that's a provincial decision. And then after that, every FOIPOP request gets, I say, at least 2 hours free. The law says 2 hours free. And so that means that it gives the organization some time to assess what the magnitude of the question might be. And we're not going to disclose, I will disclose that we have FOIPOP requests outstanding today, but we're not going to disclose from whom. We don't talk about that. So, and that's because we're protecting their privacy, FOIPOP. Anyway, but what we do is, depending on the nature of the question, I'll give you two illustrations. If somebody wanted to know what correspondence I had with Gordon Boudreau relating to the Wedgeport wind turbines, they could ask that question. We would go in, and maybe there are 50 emails and 20 documents, right? So we then assess how long it would take us to read, understand that they relate to the question, redact, and what I mean by that is any private information in that email. So let's say a resident of Wedgeport was named in that email, we would redact the name, because it's nobody's business
I get you.
on that. The question didn't ask that, and it's to protect the privacy of people that inadvertently would be associated with that question. So, and then depending on the nature of the request, it may have to go to a third party to check to make sure that we redacted it appropriately. Are there privacy issues in the email that we missed?
Would that be somebody's staff, or would that be a company, or that you would give that to?
No, we would give it to the sender or the receiver of the email in question.
Oh, okay.
So let's say if Gordon was it's a bad example because he's a counselor, but if it was a third party, we would then ask them permission.
Oh, I get you.
And here's what they're asking for, here's what it is it good? Is there anything in there that needs to be taken out for privacy purposes? And then they tell you. So that takes a little bit of time, and then you put it out. So the fee depends on how long it takes. If you've got 10, 15 emails, or if you've got 2 documents, most of the time there wouldn't be a fee at all. If you've got 2,000 to 3,000 emails, which in some cases you would, you then have to take a look at the situation, not from the perspective of the person asking, but from the perspective of the rest of the residents of the municipality. Because now what's happening, if you don't charge that person or people for that service, then all of the residents of Argyle are paying for staff time and effort to obtain that information. And in some cases, it can be a significant effort. We're talking 100, 200 hours or more. That is time that staff is utilizing to answer that question, as opposed to doing work for the totality of the municipality. So I equated a FOIPOP fee to a building permit, right? So if you want to build a $10 million structure, you're going to pay more than if you have a $100,000 structure. There's a fee, and the fee is related to the person seeking that type of service. So I equate FOIPOP to that kind of a fee. There is a fee for service, and that's why. It's because you want to protect the rest of the municipality from having to bear the cost of something that's going to take a significant amount of time. Do we like charging for FOIPOP? No, we do not. We are not. We are a big fan of providing information in the best way possible, but we are following the law. And the law is very clear about it's not just protecting the applicant, it's also protecting those that are taxpayers of the municipality.
Perfect.
Does that answer the question?
Oh, yes, it does. Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome.
Deputy Warden.
Thank you. I want to piggyback a little bit on what Councillor Surratt said. So he said, you said, and I hear it as well, we're getting questions. There's been lots of questions asked. And sometimes residents are feeling like their questions aren't being answered. But I think it's important, and I just want to say publicly, the amount of time that staff is putting into these requests has been above what we had expected. I think it's important that residents understand that we're not ignoring them. Work is being done. A lot of these questions are not necessarily for us to answer, and we heard that from the province. The province wants these questions, and we want to make sure that the information that goes out is accurate because it is their process, which I still feel like there are still some people who are still not quite understanding how this works, right? This is the province's process. They are the regulating body. We helped test some water, and we did help with the public engagement. But in terms of decision-making, it's not our decision to be made. So I just wanted to say that publicly, is that work is being done. We know that, but I think it's important that the public realizes that too. And I want to say thank you to all the staff members who have gone above and beyond and putting all the time into the FOIPOP requests and answering questions and taking questions. I mean, I know when I was preparing for tonight's meeting and I went back to look into my notes, because I always like to see which meetings have I had, most of them have been with residents for the ADA. And that's okay. And I know that that's me as a counselor, so I cannot even imagine the amount of time that staff is putting in on this. So I hope that our communities understand that they're not being ignored, that we are listening to their questions, their concerns, and they are being forwarded to the right people to answer those questions, because that's really important. And in terms of communication and the pieces that we have put on the website, every meeting I attended said, I wish we had had more communication on this. So we've heard that over and over, and we took that in as, okay. So we said we would like to take the information we have and put it on our website, and they're like, yes, please do that. So the pieces of information that are going on the website now regarding our process, it's not about us defending the process. And I think that's important for our residents to understand too, because I feel like we're trying to accommodate what they've asked us for, but we're still getting backlash. It's not that we're defending, but this is what we did. And we just are trying to provide that information for some people who may not have understood what's going on. And I think that that's important to clarify for our residents as well. So the information that is there, some of it will be repeated. It will be there more than once. And every time I see it, I share it, because that's the lesson that I learned. I feel like, because there's always lessons to learn, right? And this was a new process for us, and I feel like, okay, as a counselor, I know that I didn't share enough, or enough information wasn't out there. So that's why we're doing what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Alain, did you have a response for this, or do I?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go to Ted after.
I don't want to, I feel like I'm repeating, but at the end of the day, if questions could be answered by us with information we had that was accurate information, we tried to put that out as quickly as possible. And we saw that in some cases where there were letters with many questions, we might say, okay, we can answer these, but these are the province that needs to answer. So we want to make sure people understand that it's important that the right information go to them if they're asking the question. If they're asking the question, how are the sites being selected? That is an extraordinarily important question to get right, and we can't do that. We rely on the province to do that. So that's why it's taking a little longer. I can tell you that I will be impressing very heavily the need for an answer now, because people are, the time it's taking is sending the wrong message to the residents.
Councillor Sonia.
Thank you, Warden. I too want to thank the staff for all the extra work they do, because they got a great workload without this. Anna, this one is for you. It's a follow-up with FOIPOP from Councillor Surratt. If that's not done properly, there would be grounds for being sued. Am I not correct? If the misinformation gets out there by the municipality.
and this question is in reference to a FOIPOP request?
Yeah, what I'm saying
So
is that.
if we
is
don't
that
follow the process,
If you don't follow the
Yeah.
process, if you get misinformation there, you're liable.
I don't know if I think that we are obligated to follow a process that will take no more than 30 days from start to finish.
I'm talking about freedom of information, if that gets out there. Sorry, private.
Oh, private information.
Private
Oh,
information.
yes, well, that's the risk, right? So because many people say, hey, I have the right to information, that's your freedom of information. But don't forget the POP.
Yeah.
And it's the protection of privacy. You know, for instance, I'll give you an
That's what I'm
illustration.
talking about.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're, and you've seen this in health, you've seen these in other departments, that you run the risk of people, you know, saying you've breached my privacy, and you've seen other examples. Now, our privacy isn't as high classified as maybe health records. Health records is probably the top one. But we have to protect the privacy as much as we can. So it's not just providing the information freely. It's providing the information in a vetted way. I'll give you just a quick example. Somebody let's say we have an incoming new funding that, let's say it's a rebate for power. And we want to use our low-income exemption applications and those people that got low-income applications as a way to get them additional money. They have given us their private information for that purpose and that purpose only. So whenever you want to use it for something else, you best be very careful. So, and that's because, you know, people's private information gets to the wrong place, and we know what that can happen. So it's not that we're disrespecting the ask. We totally respect the ask, but it has to be done in a way that protects privacy. So you're quite correct.
Thank you.
Councillor Surratt.
And it'd just be a last one. I find, and after we've been on a few private meetings with the province, and I find that at those meetings, that you've got, you know, the minister and the deputy minister in the back, or some of his helpers. Oh, give us that information, we're gonna get the questions out. But by gosh, they're dragging their feet. It just frustrates me, and maybe because, I'm thinking of the municipality, you know, if I get Alain, I usually call Scott, but I call Scott anyhow, Alain, just to let you know. I call Scott anyhow, that's all right. But Scott answers me within the hour or by next day. But the government, I feel that they're, yeah, let us know, and we're going to give you the answer, but we hear nothing. And I find that they're dragging, and I'm not trying to push you for an answer. I just want to put that out there so the public can hear that we were all frustrated over that. Thank you. That's no answer needed.
Okay, if there's no other discussions, there's no motion or anything on this. It was for information. And if there's no other questions or comments, we'll continue. Next one is relief of tax request, and there's an attachment. It's a request for relief of taxes for 03525,899. It was purchased by Transportation and Infrastructure. Tax code was TX1, okay, that's not. Total owed for 2024, 784.23, and it's a request for relief of the amount of 784.23. Need a motion. Okay, it's moved and seconded. Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Carried. Letter of support from Sedene. It's a project. Service deed. Okay, it's it's for employment. Scott, maybe you can,
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Maybe I can speak to it a little bit. I was speaking to Gwen earlier this
I
week.
gotta go for it.
Så Cette année, le Conseil de développement économique de Nouvelle-Écosse is doing an ask from the federal province for funding. The funding would be used to help hire folks to look at bringing in immigration in our area, certainly helping them find employment, etc. So that in a nutshell is what it's for. It's for a support letter because they're applying through the feds for some funding for those types of services.
So moved. Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. You're up.
Thank you. I'm drying up, I can't, I'm dehydrating. So that's it for those. Correspondence and for information, Mr. Maslin, Pubnico Head intersection, we had a second reply. They're saying that they will look at it again. Whether anything will happen, but at least they received our letter and they've responded. Councillor Digdon.
And again, on that one, if people are watching and wondering, that there is 100% provincial. That has nothing to do with the
Nothing to do with
municipality.
us.
We put the word out there, we try and help the help the people, tell them, that we are behind them as far as getting it looked at again. But again, that decision will be solely the provincial government's decision. That's all. Thank you.
The other one, Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Policing review update. Electric vehicle charging station, a study. This came from Deputy CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. I just want to bring up to speed on the electric vehicle charging station. If you remember back in June of 2023, you guys approved the motion for me to do an application at Low Carbon Community Fund, and you said I could spend up to $25,000 to look into this if I could get the grant. I did apply, did get the grant. We went to market. The first bid that we received was $32,700 plus HST. But once we got into the nuts and bolts of the agreement and the RFP that I put out, it wasn't clear that our scope of work was to looking at our fleet vehicle now and changing that to EV vehicle potentially, and putting charging station for our fleet. But we also wanted to extend that to the community, to the municipality, see where we could install or partner with and install EV charging station in different areas, tourist site, whatever. It was kind of missed in the RFP, or it wasn't clear in the RFP, so we went back to the company that we offered the tender to, and we've amended it, and you can see that we've added that to the scope of the work for another $22,000. So there will be some public engagement done by this company. On top of it, they will be looking at what kind of barriers are out there in regards to the infrastructure, what kind of funding would be out there, what partnership could potentially be there. So there's a little more to the scope of the work now, and I think it would include more of the municipality too, so, and not just our municipality right here, like our fleet, right? This would go beyond our, I guess, our footprint of just here. Yeah.
Okay, any questions or? The next one is a proposed amendment application, Salt Bay, Yarmouth County. And there's an attachment, and what this is it's, I guess they have to reapply for their licenses, and it's one that's already in Salt Bay, and they're just reapplying for the license, and they notified us that that was happening. Okay. Okay, financial requests. We have District 8 community grants, and it's, we're going to do them in one motion. We have Public Owned Area Garden Club. These are all for 700. La Société Historique Acadienne de Pamlico West, Les Amis du Musée, West Side Improvement Society, all for 700. Moved by Councillor Digdon, seconded by Councillor D'Entremont. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, carried. Now, I said I was going to bring one up, and that's, I sent an email, and I had a phone call first on this. It's a Phil Kamal, who plans on doing a film during CMA. He's had provincial funding. The budget for the film is $72,000. He's had provincial funding of $30,000. He's had Cinéma Indépendant de Canada, $12,000. Fondation Nationale de l'Acadie, $5,000. A business local, $4,000. A second business local, $4,000, for a total of $55,000. Just got an email today, which reminded me, I thought I had sent this to council because I told him he would have to send me a letter. And I thought I had sent this to council, and I didn't see it on the agenda, and it says I probably forgot to forward this. He's asking for $5,000 from us, and I just got an email today that Claire just gave him $5,000 yesterday at the meeting. So this is very, very short notice. We're going to have another meeting. I did forward the email tonight to you guys. He's got the project, what the project is going to be, and his CV, so CV, Phil Kamal. So it's something we can discuss tonight, or if you feel we should leave it until our next meeting, that's entirely up to council. But he's asking for $5,000 to go towards the production of this film. It's let me see if he mentions here what it is. Councillor Surratt, now look to see. Go ahead.
I mean, it was sent at 6:16 that I got it anyhow. Didn't give me much time to look at the whole thing and review. I'm not saying I won't vote or vote for it, yes or no, but I wish I had more time. Is there, I don't see, right quickly I was looking, is there a deadline to this? If we could go to the next meeting, I'd prefer.
Well, I
personally,
he
but
doesn't say there's a deadline.
I didn't see
He did not mention a deadline. But then when he emailed me today, says, I understand you're having a meeting tonight. So.
I mean, it's up to council. I don't feel, I feel we should wait till the end of the month, but anyhow. I'd like to read everything, his CV and that stuff, and where his money's coming from, and, you know, I see there's some money, like I said, I hadn't had time really to look at it, but I'd rather not vote on it, I may as well be honest with you, until then. If it was on a pinch, I'd say different, but that's my opinion. It's up to the rest of council.
I didn't see anything. Councillor Bohr.
Thank you, Warden. Yeah, like Guy, I like to go dig into it a little bit further and wait till our next meeting and find out where we would take this money from too. So maybe we'd have those answers for our next meeting.
Okay, and that's fine. I apologize for not having it sent. Go ahead, Councillor Digdon.
Thank you. I'm just wondering if he'll still go ahead with the project if he doesn't receive our $5,000.
Probably will. He's received quite a bit of money. I can't see, but he needs the extra, whether he will get it from other companies or whatever. But with the 5,000, that's 60,000, he's still short $12,000, right? Yeah, from his budget. Councillor Saunier.
Thank you. Do we know the nature of what he's doing?
That's what I was looking at.
Is there any
I thought it was in
benefits?
the email. It's to do with artists, young artists during Congrès Mondial. And it's going to, I saw where it's going to be released in March of 2025. And it will showcase the area, right? It's going to be a film in both English, it's going to be one in French, but there's going to be one in English as well. It's going to have it in English as well.
So there's a tourist implication to
There
this?
certainly is, because he'll showcase the area for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And our name will be on the credits if we donate as well, Municipality of Argyle. So I would say that we table this till next meeting. Next meeting, scheduled for the 27th. That's going to be our last meeting before a break, the summer. I'm away. There's a graduation that evening at Paramba that you're going to be.
Drummond Heights.
Oh, is it the Drumlin one?
Yeah.
Oh, Drumlin one, yeah. Paramba is the day before. I'll be attending that one. So we're just looking at rescheduling. I don't know what would be a good time. Do we go on a Thursday? Do we do it different day during the week? Whatever council wants to do and what's best for everybody, I guess.
I'll be away, 26th and the 27th. Wow.
You'll be away on those as well. So we definitely need to reschedule, and hopefully, perhaps we shouldn't cancel since it's our last meeting before our summer break.
We have a meeting on the 25th as well, don't we, for the ferry? Yours to me? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a meeting on
25th.
the 25th.
EGM with the rain. Should be taken.
I'll bring my schedule here.
Too short.
Did you get enough time for anything?
Yeah, Mondays are great, good point.
No, that's right. 4-day work week.
Could push to the 4th of July.
We could. Yeah, we could do it in July.
Yeah, it works.
Why not? That works?
I'll be going. I'm going. I'm out of the country.
Yeah. We'll see you online.
I'm not going to Vegas. I don't think I'll be.
Oh, nice, nice.
We'll have a little American flag.
So it's good, the 4th of July? Okay, that's what we'll do. Go back to my agenda. So, brings us to agenda topics for next meeting, or notice of motion. Any questions? No questions? Anybody watching?
Jeez, this was a
Yes.
long meeting, Warden.
That was a very long meeting. I figured I owed you one. So there's no in camera, which brings us to adjournment. So I'll adjourn the meeting with no other business on the agenda.
Merci d'avoir